So hi all, we are Pure Yoga and we're going to be doing moon salutation and balance today for the more intermediate class, which is going to be taking you through moon salutation slowly first on the first round. Then we'll be taking 2 balances and then we'll be taking you through moon salutation a little bit quicker, then doing another 2 balances and then taking you through moon salutation even quicker than that, more one movement to one breath. So we're starting off really slowly just so you can get an idea of the alignment of the poses first, and then we'll gradually build them up. But those poses for balance will be 2 poses at a time, so it will fatigue each leg each time. So if anything doesn't feel right, please come out of the pose. And when I do the balances, I will be turning away from you. So I'd like you to set your mats up so that the long edge is pointing to the camera. And I will be turning to the short edge when I do the balances just because I've got more leg room, but you can still stay in this angle if you wish, facing the camera, so long as you've got room to put the leg back behind you. Okay, so I'll be mirror imaging you throughout, so I'll be giving you your lefts and rights opposite to what I'm doing, but just listen to what I'm asking you to do with your left and rights, and you should be mirror imaging me from the camera. So we're going to come over to your left side of the mat and have the feet hip width apart, lift all 10 toes up towards the ceiling and then slowly bring those toes down from the little toe all the way through to the big toe. Bring the hands down by the sides of the body, just let the shoulders relax, grow up tall through the crown. Think about lifting that lower belly up slightly and tucking that tailbone under just to find a little bit of a neutral pelvis so we're not arching that lower back. So we have that rib and hip tether, nice strong core centre. A little micro bend in the knees, but not anything too obvious to the eye, more the feeling and sensation within the body. Close the eyes, take a moment here just to find the grounding through the whole of the foot, the ball, the heel, toes touching down on the mat, not rocking out to your left or right sides of the feet, just finding that stable in between. And just take a moment to scan the body from the top of the head down to the fingers, down to the toes, just checking in with how that body feels for you as you've arrived on the mat for practice. So moon salutations are all about the cooling, the calming, the feminine side. Unlike sun salutations, which is more about heat, it's more about the masculine side and really the active side of the body. So these moon salutations can be done at any time through the day, but particularly lovely to do in the evenings. Once you've taken that mental scan of the body, start to bring the attention to the breath, starting to take those breaths maybe a little deeper into the belly. Expanding through the rib cage as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, feel like that belly button draws back towards the spine, the ribs soften and everything contracts to push that air back out the lungs. Just take another couple of moments in this standing anatomical position. Just feeling the earth underneath the feet, really pushing down to all 4 points of those feet. The front left and right side, the back left and right side, heel and ball of the foot. Then opening the eyes, and we're going to start with that first full round of moon salutation. So as you take a breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers at the top, then lean over to your right side and push into that left foot, keeping the hips nice and central. Taking lateral flexion through the waist. Bring it back to the centre, then lean over to your left side, pushing into your right foot. Try not to let that lower back arch, keep those rib and hips tethered. Come back to the centre, release the hands down behind the back. Place the little fingers together in the lower spine. Push the hips forward, lift through the ribs, lift through the chest, lift through the gaze. Tuck that tailbone down so we don't pinch that lower back. And then lifting that chest back up, bring the hands to the hips, step across to your right side of the mat with that right foot, Turn your toes out to the corners. Bring the arms to cactus arms and bend into those knees, keeping those shoulders over those hips. Trying to tuck the belly in and the tailbone under. Taking those hips as low as you can into goddess pose. Just hold it here just for one more breath, really pushing down into those feet. And then straighten back up through the legs, straighten through the arms to a T shape. Turn your left toes to the long edge of the mat, your right toes to the short edge of the mat. Reach forward with that right hand and bring that right hand to the inside of that right leg. As you lift that left hand up to the ceiling, maybe gazing up towards that left thumb. Push the hips forward, bring the shoulders back, trying to stack that left shoulder on top of the right shoulder. That plane of glass either side of the body for triangle pose. Then bringing your left hand down onto that right shin, both hands onto the shins. Breathe in, elongate through the spine. Then as you breathe out, fold over that right leg. If you wish to bring the hands to the floor, bring the hands to the floor. And bring that nose as close towards that right shin as you can. Just holding it in pyramid pose just for a couple of breaths. Then take a bend into your right knee. Come onto the toes of the left foot. Let that knee drop down to the floor and tuck those left toes. Reach the arms up so they come up to the ceiling. Keep that ribbon hip tether as you lift up through the arms. Push into the feet, into that low lunge space. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms. Try not to flare the ribs. And then bringing those hands down either side of the right foot. Walk the hands around to that long edge of the mat and then bring your left toes to point up to the ceiling, left leg straight, right knee bent. From this position, if you wish to come into a balance, bring the hands away from the floor and lift up through the chest, or keep those hands down if you wish to feel that support of the body. So we're getting that internal stretch on that left inner thigh. Then bring the hands down to the floor, walk them to the centre, heel toe the feet in towards each other a little, turn the toes out, heels in, take a bend into both knees, elbows to the inside of the knees, palms come together into our Malasana squat. Keep those bums tucked under. You may be a little high in this position if it feels a little challenging through those hips, or sink them as low as you can. Then bring those hands back to the floor, walk them over to your left side mat, bend your left knee, straighten your right leg, right toes up to the ceiling. Choice to keep the hands on the floor or find that balance in this side squat. Then release the hands to the mat, turn towards your left edge, drop the back knee, untuck the back toes of the right foot. Raise the hands up to the ceiling again to find that low lunge position. Relax the shoulders, lengthen up through the arms. Then release those hands down to the side of that left foot. Tuck your right toes under, drop your right heel to the floor, straighten your left leg. Either bringing the hands to the shins or keeping the hands on the mat. Breathe in, elongate, breathe out, fold over that left leg into pyramid pose. You don't have to come as deep as me. Even if you're here, that's absolutely fine. You'll be getting a hamstring stretch down that left leg. Just try and fold into your place of range of movement as you can. Then bringing your left hand to the inside of that left leg, reach your right hand to the ceiling. Turn your shoulders and hips to the long edge of the mat facing me at the camera. To that triangle pose, out to that right side. Push nice and strong into those feet. Then your next breath in, bring those shoulders over the hips. Turn both sets of toes out to the corners of the mat. Bend the arms into cactus arms. Bend the knees, bring yourself into that goddess squat. Think about the crown being stacked on top of that sit bone. Lifting up through the spine, squeezing the shoulder blades together to create space in the chest. Then straighten up through the legs and the arms, 5-pointed star. Bring the hands to the hips, step over to your right side of the mat. feet hip width apart. Release the hands down by the side of the body, then raise those hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. Lean over to your left side, push into that right foot. Come back to the centre, then lean over to your right side, push it into your left foot. Come back to the centre, release the hands down by the base of the spine, fingers pushing down towards the floor. Push the hips forward, lift the ribs, lift the chest, lift the gaze. And then bring those shoulders back over those hips. Release the hands back to the chest. That's half a round of moon salutation. We'll take it back to the other way. Breath in, raise those hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. On your breath out, lean over to your left side, push into the right foot. Come back to the centre, then lean over to your right side, push into your left foot. Come back to the centre, release the hands down by the base of the spine, push the hips forward, lift through the ribs, the chest, the gaze. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then bring those shoulders back over the hips. Step yourself then across to your left side of the mat with your left foot. Take cactus arms, bend the knees, turn the toes out to the pointy edges of the mat and tuck that tailbone under, sink low with the hips. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, create the space in the front of the chest. Then straighten up through both legs, straighten up through both arms, T position. Turn your right toes to the long edge, your left toes to the short edge. Reach out with that left hand. Bring the left hand to the inside of that left leg as the right hand lifts up to the ceiling, maybe gaze up to that thumb. Try not to hyperextend that left knee. Give it a little micro bend. Triangle pose over to your left side mat. Then bring your right hand down to the inside or top of that left shin. Elongate through the spine and then fold over that left leg. Either bringing the hands to the floor if they reach or keeping them on the shins or the ankles. And just feel that hamstring stretch down that left leg. Pyramid pose to this side. Then taking a bend into your left knee, drop your right knee down to the floor, untuck the right toes. Reach up with the arms to your low lunge position. Push those hips slightly forward. Try and tether those ribs and hips together, but reach up through the arms. Then bring those hands down to either side of that left foot. Tuck the back toes under, turn around to that long edge of the mat. Turn your right toes up to the ceiling, right knee up to the ceiling. Bend into your left knee. If you wish to find that balance, bring the hands away, palms together at the chest. Then release the hands down, walk them into the centre. Heel toe the feet in slightly. Toes pointing out, heels in, find Malasana squat in the centre. Pushing those hands in towards each other, the elbows into the knees. Then release the hands down, walk over towards your right side mat, bend your right knee, straighten your left leg, toes of the left foot pointing up. Bring the hands away if you're challenging the balance. Then release those hands down, turn around to your right side of the mat and drop down that left knee, untuck the toes. Reach up with the arms to find that lunge position. Reach up high with the hands, tuck the tailbone under, push the hips forward. Then release the hands down, either side of that right foot, tuck your left toes under, drop that back heel, straighten through your right leg, either bringing the hands onto the ankle or the shin. Elongate, inhale, fold, exhale over that leg. Just holding it here in pyramid pose. Then bringing your right hand to the inside of your right leg, reaching up with your left hand, finding triangle pose, facing the front towards the camera. Soften that right knee a little if it's hyperextending. And then bring those shoulders over the hips. Turn both sets of toes out to the corner. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, keep that crown stacked on top of the spine. Bums tucked under, lower belly's lift. Then straighten up through both legs, through both arms. 5-pointed star. Bring the hands to the hips. Step across to your left side of the mat. Feet hip width apart. Your breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. Take the bend over to your right side, push into your left foot. Come back to centre and then take it to the opposite side. So over to your left, pushing into your right foot. Try not to let the lower back arch. Come back to the centre. Release the hands down behind the back. Push those little fingers together. Push the hips forward. Lift up through the ribs, lift up through the chest, lift up through the gaze. And then bringing yourself back to that centre point. Shoulders stacking over the spine. Bring the hands together at the chest. And just take a moment here just to finish that round of moon salutation. So your choice can either just be stepping into the centre of your mat. For me, I'm just going to turn around to that short edge so that you get a better view of the balance, because my leg will need to be taken back, so the sofa would be in my way. Bring your hands to your hips, bring your weight into your left foot, keep the hips nice and level as you raise that right leg up to hip height. Then bring your left hand onto your right knee, reach up with your right hand and turn and twist to your right side of the mat, keeping those hips facing forward, the shoulders turning to the right as you reach back with that right hand. Finding that twist in our standing balance. So this is our first balance. And then bring that right hand back up and over and bring that right hand to the right ankle. Left hand comes onto the hip. Bring your right knee back, squeeze that right foot into the bum. Try and bring that right knee in line with the left knee. Push, push, push those hips a little further forward. Holding it here just for another breath. The second balance, quad stretch in standing. Then release that right foot, bring it to the floor. And then take a little paddle of the feet. And then we'll take that on the other side. So bring your weight into your right foot this time. Hands on the hips, keep the hips neutral. As you raise that left leg up towards hip height. Knee bend. Bring your right hand onto your left knee. Reach forward with your left hand, then bring it up and over and twist the torso to the left. Hips stay neutral to the front of the mat. And just think about that right hand holding that left knee so those hips can't twist and the rotation comes through the waist. Nice, long, easy breaths as we hold this twist. Then bringing that left arm back up and over. Find the ankle of that left foot. Bring your right hand to the hip. Squeeze your left knee to meet the right, then squeeze the bum to push the hips forward and bring that left foot as close towards that left bum cheek as you can. Trying to find a focal point, something to concentrate on, to get rid of that monkey chatter, to try and calm the pose and bring yourself into a little stillness. Then releasing that left foot back to meet the right, take a paddle of the feet. So maybe you're still facing your long edge. I'm now turning to face the long edge, bringing ourselves over to that left side. So we're going to take it again through moon salutation. We're going to take it slightly quicker. So just think about that anatomical position first, feet hip width apart. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears, back down towards the hips. Okay, so we're ready. Breath in, bring the hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. Then lean to your right side and push into your left foot. Come back to the centre, lean to your right side, left side, push into your right foot. Come back to the center, release the hands behind the back. Push the hands into the lower back, push the hips, raise the ribs, raise the chest, raise the gaze. Come back to the center, hands stay on the hips as you step over to your right side mat. Turn the toes out, cactus the arms, bend into the knees, find that goddess squat. Tuck under the tailbone, draw the belly back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, create space in that chest. Straighten up through both legs, bring the arms to a T shape. Your left toes point to the long edge, your right toes point to the short edge. Reach forward with the right hand. Bring your left hand to the ceiling, gaze up towards that left thumb. Tuck the hips forward, the shoulders back, left shoulder stacking on top of the right. Then bringing that left hand down towards the shin, turn the shoulders. Breathe in, elongate, breathe out, fold over that right leg, maybe bringing those hands to the floor and that forehead as close to that right shin as you can. Then taking a bend into your right knee, come onto the toes of the back foot, drop that left knee down then and tuck the toes. Raise the arms up to low lunge position. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms, push those hips forward. Then bring those hands down either side of the right foot, turn towards that long edge of the mat. Your left leg straightens, left toes up to the shin. Lift up, bring it into a balance, palms together, relax the shoulders. Then release the hands down, walk the hands into the centre of the mat. Heel toe the feet slightly together, heels in, toes out. Find Malasana squat in the centre of the mat, tucking those bums under, lifting up through the chest. Then release those hands to the floor, walk them over towards your left leg, straighten your right leg, right toes to the ceiling. Bring those hands together at the chest to find the balance or keep the hands on the floor if you wish. Then release the hands down, walk the hands around towards your left side of the mat, drop your right knee and tuck your right toes. Lift up with the arms, push the hips forward, low lunge position. Then releasing the hands down to either side of the left foot, tuck your back toes under, drop that right heel internally, straighten the left leg, hands on shins or floor, breathe in, elongate, breathe out, fold over that left leg, bringing that forehead as close to the shin as you can, hamstring stretch down that left leg. Then bringing your left hand to the inside of the left leg, reach your right hand up, turn, twist, triangle pose. Hips and shoulders facing the long edge. Nice elongation down that left side body. Then bring those shoulders back over the hips. Turn the toes to the point ends of the mat. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, find goddess pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Bring the hands up high, straighten the legs, five-pointed star. Bring the hands to the hips, step over to your right side, feet hip width apart. Breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, palms come together, interlace the fingers. Lean over to your left side, push into your right foot. Come back to the centre, lean over to your right side, push it into your left foot. Come back to the centre, release the hands down behind the back, push the hips forward, lift the ribs, the chest, the gaze into that back bend. Come back through centre, bring the hands to the chest, half round of moon salutation done. Taking the second half, breathe in, reach the hands, interlace the fingers, lean over to your left side, push it into your right foot. Come back to the centre, lean over to your right side, push into your left foot. Come back to the centre, release the hands down to the lower back. Push the hips forward, lift the ribs, lift the chest, lift the gaze, back bend. Come back to the centre, step over with your left foot to the left side mat. Turn the toes out, cactus the arms. Goddess pose, lowering with the hips, tucking the tailbone under, lower belly up. Then straighten up through both legs, straighten through both arms, T-shape. Left toes face the long edge, right toes face the short edge. Reach in with that left hand to the inside of that left leg as your right hand lifts. I think I got my right and left one slightly there. So we should be bending over that left leg, left hand down, right hand lifted. Then bringing down that right hand to the inside of that left leg, turn the shoulders and then fold over that left leg, bringing either the hands to the floor or keeping them on the leg, bringing that forehead as close to that shin as you can. Then take a bend into your left knee, drop the right knee down and tuck the right toes, reach up with the arms, finding that lunge position, push those hips forward, try not to flare the ribs. Then release the hands down either side of the left foot, walk them around to that long edge. Your right leg stays straight, right toes up to the shins, maybe find the hands away from the floor, lift up through the chest. Then release the hands down, walk them to the centre, heel toe the feet in slightly, lower the hips, Malasana squat in the centre. Find that for a breath. Then release the hands down, walk over to your right side foot, straighten your left leg, toes up to the ceiling. Bring those hands away from the mat, lift up through the chest or keep the hands grounded if you wish. Then bring the hands back to the floor, turn around towards hands either side of the right foot, drop the left knee and tuck the toes. Raise the arms, lunge position, push the hips forward, rib and hip tether. Then release the hands down either side of that right foot, tuck the left toes under, drop the left heel in. Bring the hands either to the floor, the ankles or the shins. Breathe in, elongate, breathe out and flex over that right leg. Bringing that forehead or nose towards the chin, it doesn't have to reach. Then bringing your right hand to the inside of that right leg, reach your left hand up to the ceiling, turn the hips and shoulders to the long edge of the mat facing the camera. Then lifting up through that torso, turn both sets of toes to the corners, bend the elbows, cactus the arms, bend into the knees, goddess squat in the centre. Then straighten up through both legs, straighten up through both arms. Bring the hands then to the hips, step over to your left side, feet hip width apart. Raise the hands, interlace the fingers, lean to the right side, push into the left foot. Come back to the centre, lean to the opposite direction. Back to centre, release the hands behind the back. Push those hands into the lower back, push the hips forward, lift the ribs, lift the chest. Try not to impinge that lower back, so squeeze those glutes. Then lifting the chest. Bring the hands back to the centre, palms together. Then release the hands down by the sides of the body. Close the eyes, just take a moment just to start to bring that breath a little slower as we've moved that sequence of moon salutation a little bit quicker. You may find that body's heated and the breaths come a little bit more erratic. So we're going to be taking another standing two poses, balances. So again, I'm going to turn around to face my short edge, but you can still face forward if you wish. So bringing the hands again onto the hips, bring your weight into your left foot as you raise that right knee up to hip height. Find a focal point in front of you, then start to lean the torso forward, sending your right leg back so it comes in line with the hip. Try not to let the right hip lift. Once you've found the leg, find the hands maybe palms together at the chest, or if you wish to make it a little stronger, reach forward with the hands towards the front. Try and get the arms in line with the hips. Try and engage through the centre of the body. Try not to let that right hip lift too high. One more breath in Warrior 3. Bring the hands back to the hips if they're lengthened. Bring that right knee back up to hip height. Turn the knee out. Bring the outside of that right ankle onto the top of the left thigh. Then take a bend into that left knee. Once you've found the legs, right knee turned out, bring the hands to the chest. Finding that figure 4 balance, trying to keep both hips nice and level. Try not to hike up through that right side. Feel the weight in all points of that grounded left foot. Those muscles in that foot and ankle may start to fatigue as you hold the pose. Easy breaths in, long, easy breaths out. Then straightening back up through that left leg, bringing a bend back into that right knee. Hold it there for a breath, keep some focus in front of you. Draw those right toes back towards the shins of that right leg, using that hip flexor strength to keep that knee lifted. Then release that right foot back to meet the left. Take a little paddle of the feet, a little swing of the arms, and then we'll take it on the other side. So bring your weight into your right foot, hands on the hips, keep the hips neutral as you lift that left knee up to hip height. Find a focal point and then travel that left leg back, bringing the torso forward. Try not to let that left hip hike. Keep that grounding through that standing right leg. When you've found the legs, maybe find the hands at the chest or reach forward with the hands towards the front of the room. Trying to get those arms into a nice long line, that left leg as straight as you can, so engage that left thigh to straighten the leg. One more breath here. Then bring those hands back to the hips. Bring that left knee back forward up to hip height. Turn the knee out, bring the outside of that left ankle onto the top of the right thigh. Sink into that right knee. Once you've found how low you wish to go with that left knee turned out, bring the hands together at the chest and just find something to concentrate on. Something that's not moving. Maybe push into those palms, activate the arms a little more. Holding just for one more breath with that bent right knee. And then straighten up through that right leg. Bring your left knee back up to hip height. Hold it here using the hip flexor strength to keep that knee lifted. Left toes back to the shins. Activate through those calves. Activate through those shins. Notice the muscles in that standing right leg working to hold. The muscles in the core center, finding that equilibrium of the body to find that balance. Then release that left foot back to the floor. Take a paddle of the feet. And then bring yourself back to your left edge of the mat, facing the long edge. Take a roll of the shoulders up towards the ears, back down towards the hips. Turn the palms forward, take a close of the eyes. Just take a moment to find your breath. Maybe a time to take on some water if you wish. Whatever works for you right now, whatever your body requires. So making sure those feet are hip width apart. Take an opening of the eyes. So we're going to do moon salutation a slight bit quicker. So breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, interlace the fingers, lean over to your right side, push into your left foot. Come back to center, lean over to your left side, push into your right foot. Come back to center, bring the hands behind the back of the body. Push the hips forward, lift up through the ribs, lift up through the chest, lift up through the gaze, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Come back to center, step across to your right side of the mat, turn the toes out, cactus the arms, and find your goddess squat just for a breath. Your next breath in, straighten through the legs, straighten through the arms to a T shape, left toes face the long edge, right toes, right edge. Reach out with the right hand, bring that right hand to the inside of the right leg. As that left hand lifts up to the ceiling, gaze up to that foot. Bring your left hand down, either onto the shin, turn your shoulders to that right leg. Breathe out, bring that chest over that thigh, maybe the forehead towards the shin, maybe the hands to the floor if they reach. Then take a bend into your right knee, come onto the toes of the back foot, drop the back knee, untuck the back toes, raise the arms up to your low lunge. Then bring the hands down either side of the right foot, turn to the long edge, your left leg straight, left toes to the shins, bring the hands together at the chest. Either plant the hands down or find your way into the center, heel toe the feet a little closer, sink into the hips, elbows to the inside of the knees. Again, you can use the hands now to ground or take yourself over to that opposite side, the left side of the mat, turning those right toes up to the ceiling, finding a balance in your squat to your left side. Then bring the hands down, turn the hands towards your left side mat, drop your right knee and tuck the toes. Raise the arms up to the ceiling, finding lunge position. Then bring the hands down either side of the left foot to the back toes under, lift the back knee, drop that heel internally, straighten that left leg. Hands on the shins or the floor, breathe in, elongate. Breathe out and flex over that left leg, maybe bringing that forehead towards that shin. Then bringing your left hand to the inside of the left leg, right hand lifts up to the ceiling, maybe gaze up to that right thumb, finding triangle pose to the front. Then lift those shoulders over the hips, turn toes to the corners, elbows bend. Take a bend in the knees, sink the hips low, finding goddess pose to the front. Straighten up through both legs, bring the hands to the hips, step over to your right side, feet hip width apart, raise the hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers, lean to the left, push into the right foot. Lean to the right, push into your left foot. Come back to centre, bring the hands behind the back, push the hips forward, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Come back to centre, bring the hands to the chest. That's half moon salutation. So taking it back to the other side of the mat. Breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. Lean over to your left side, push into your right foot. Come back to centre, lean over to your right side, push into your left foot. Come back to centre, release the hands behind the back, push the hips forward, lift the ribs, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Come back through centre, hands on the hips, step to your left side of the mat, turn the toes out. Goddess pose, cactus arms, bend the knees, sink as low as you can. Then straighten up through both legs, arms to T-shape. Your right toes facing the long edge, left toes facing the right side of the mat. Bringing your left hand to the inside of that leg, reaching up with your right hand. Then bringing your right hand down to that left leg, turn the shoulders. Breathe in, elongate, breathe out, fold over that left leg. Bringing that head to the shin or the hands to the floor. Then taking a bend into your left knee, drop your right knee down and tuck the right toes. Reach up with the hands, finding that lunge position. Then release the hands down, walk the hands around to the front of the mat, straightening through your right leg, bending through your left knee, bring the hands to the chest. Choice to bring the hands back to the floor or come to the centre, heel toe the feet in a little closer and find Malasana squat here. Then walking over to your right side mat, maybe use the hands to transition, straighten through that left leg, lift up through the chest. Then bring the hands down, walk it around towards that left side of the mat. That right side, drop that back knee and tuck those toes. Reach up with the arms, come to that lunge position. Then release the hands down either side of the right foot to the back toes under, lift the back knee, drop that heel internally, straighten through the right leg. Breathe in, elongate, maybe bring the hands to the shins. Breathe out, fold over that leg, pyramid pose, bring that forehead down towards that shin. Then bringing your right hand to the inside of the right leg, lift your left hand to the ceiling and find your triangle pose to the front. Then lifting the shoulders over the hips, turn toes to the corners, cactus the arms, bend the knees, find your goddess pose. Then straighten up through the legs, straighten up through the arms. Bring the hands to the hips, step across to your left side, feet hip width apart. Breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. Lean over to the right side, push it into the left foot. Come back to centre, lean over to the opposite side. And come back to centre. Bring the hands behind the back. Push the hips forward, lift up through the ribs, the chest, the gaze. Bring the shoulders back over the hips. Bring the hands to the chest. Close the eyes. Find that standing Tadasana mountain pose. Maybe bring the hands down by the sides of the body, turning the palms forward, relaxing the shoulders back towards those hips. So we're going to take 2 more standing poses. Again, you can stay facing the front of the camera. I'm going to turn myself around so I have space for my back leg. Bring the hands onto the hips. Bring your weight into your left foot. Keep the hips neutral as you raise your right knee up to hip height. Find something to focus on first. Then take a hold of your right ankle and bring that knee down. Reach up with your left hand, then forward with the torso and lift up through that right leg, pushing that right foot into the right hand, opening that chest on that right side, finding dancer pose here. Going as low as you can with the torso, lifting that right leg up as high as you can. 1 more breath in this position. Then bring that torso back up straight. Bring that knee back to the front, left hand back to the hip. Then bring your right foot either into the shin or into the upper thigh to find tree. Bring the hands together then at the chest. Keep focusing on something in front of you. Right knee turns out to the side. Push the right foot into the left thigh and resist with that left leg. Push those hips forward a little more. Really engage through the centre of the body. Engage through the glutes on that left side to find that good strong balance. Then reach your hands up towards the ceiling if you wish to come with me, or keep them at the chest. Try not to flare the ribs as you lift those arms up as much as you can. Then bring the arms out to a T shape, palms facing down. Then bring those hands forward in front of you. Right elbow hooks under the left. Find the back of the hands or the palms. Raise those elbows up so it comes in front of the gaze. Stretching through those rhomboid muscles in between the shoulder blades. Still maintaining the out turn of that right leg. That left foot maybe feels a little fatigued right now. Come out of the pose if you wish, then find the pose again when you're ready. Then release those hands down, bring them behind the bum. Take an interlace of the fingers, push those hands down towards the floor, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Still trying not to flare the ribs, but creating the space in the chest, creating some extension through that thoracic part of the spine between those shoulders, down to the lower ribs. Then release those hands back to the hips. Release that right foot back to the floor. Take a paddle of the feet. You may find a little fatigue in that left foot, but don't worry because we're taking the weight off that left foot in a moment to do it on the other side. So again, find your hands on your hips to find that neutral pelvis. Put your weight this time into your right foot as you lift that left knee up to hip height. Find something to focus on first. Then taking the left hand to the ankle of the left foot, bringing that left knee down to meet the right, toes back to the bum on that left side. Reach up with your right arm, then lean forward into the pose of dancer, pushing that left foot into that left hand, reaching forward with the right hand and getting that extension of the front side of the body. Keep that gaze just in front of you or down to the floor, just checking in with nothing that's moving. 1 more breath in this place. Then bring those shoulders back over the hips. Bring your right hand back to the hip, your left knee through. Then find a place for that left foot either down onto the inside of that right shin or into that right thigh. Push that left foot into the thigh or the shin, but not the knee. And then when you've found the legs with that left knee turned out, hips still facing forward, Bring the hands to the chest, push the palms together and activate those arms. Breathing easily here. Long breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Then reach up with the hands, send them towards the ceiling, straightening the arms as much as you can. Try not to flare those ribs. Engage through those shoulders to lift the arms higher, straightening the arms by using the tricep muscles. Then bring the arms out to a T shape, palms facing down. Bring the hands around in front of you. This time left arm hooks under the right, find the back of the hands or the palms. Then raise those elbows up to shoulder height. Keeping that breath fluid. Stretching those rhomboid muscles. Don't let that left knee drop inwardly. Keep it turned out by engaging the glute medius on the outside of that left hip, one of the hip rotators. Then release the hands down behind the back. Take an interlace of the fingers. Push the hands down to the floor. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Create that space in the front of the chest. Noticing all the muscles working, keeping you in this pose. Easy breaths in, long breaths out. Then bring those hands back to the hips. Just hold it in this place just for a few breaths. Then release that left foot back to the floor. Take a paddle of the feet. Notice the fatigue maybe in that right leg. Really working those muscles. Then coming back to the left side of the mat, we have one more round of moon salutation, making it 4 in total. So getting yourself ready, feet hip width apart, just bring the hands down by the sides of the body, close the eyes, just find a moment either for water or restoring that breath before we move through moon salutation. Your next breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers, lean over to the right, push into the left foot. Come back to center, lean over to the other side and push into that right foot. Come back to the center, release the hands to the lower spine. Push the hips forward, lift up through the ribs, lift up through the chest, lift up through the gates. Come back through center, hands to the hips, step over to your right side, toes point out, cactus the arms, goddess pose, crown of the head stacked on top of the spine. Straighten up through both legs, out with both arms, turn your left toes to the long edge, right toes to the short edge. Bring your right hand to the inside of the right leg as your left hand lifts, gaze up to that foot. Then bringing your left hand down to either the shin or the floor, breathe in, elongate, turn the shoulders to the right leg. As you fold over that right leg, maybe bringing the hands to the floor and that forehead or chin to that shin. Then taking a bend into your right knee, drop the left knee down, untap the left toes, raise the arms up, low lunge position, push the hips forward. Then bring those hands down either side of that right foot, turn around to the long edge of the mat, your left leg straight, bring the hands to the chest, or keep the hands on the floor if you don't wish to take the balance. Then bring the hands to the floor or keep the hands together, work to the center, heel toe the feet in, heels in, toes out, Malasana squat in the center of the mat. Then take yourself over to your left side, straighten out with your right leg, turn those toes up to the ceiling, keeping those palms together or hands on the floor. Bring your hand either side of that left foot, turn to the left side of the mat, drop the back knee, untuck the toes, reach up with the hands, lunge position, facing the left side. Then bring the hands down to the floor, tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee, drop your right heel, straighten your left leg. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out, fold over that left leg. Bringing the nose towards the shin or the forehead. Then bringing your left hand to the inside of the left leg, right hand lifts up to the ceiling, gaze up to that right thumb. Then lift the hips, the shoulders over the hips, both sets of toes out to the corner, goddess squat in the centre. Then straighten up through the legs, bring the hands to the hips, step over to your right side, feet hip width apart. Reach up with the hands, fingertips interlace. Take it over to your left side, push into your right foot. Back to the centre, lean over to the other side and push into your left foot. Back to the centre, bring the hands by the base of the spine. Push the hips forward, lift up through the ribs, the chest, the gaze. Bring yourself back to the centre, hands to the chest. Half round of moon salutation. So taking the next half round, the last half round of the practice, raise the hands up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers. Take the bend over to the left, push into the right foot. Take the bend back over to the other side and push into your left foot. Come back to centre, hands behind the back. Push the hips forward, lift the ribs, lift the chest, lift the gaze, back bend. Come back to the centre, hands onto the hips. Step over with your left foot, turn the toes out, cactus the arms, goddess squat in the middle. Then straighten up through both legs, reach out with both arms, turn your right toes in, your left toes out, reach forward with the left hand, reach up with the right hand, gaze up towards that thumb. Then bring that right hand to that left leg, turn the shoulders, breathe in, breathe out, fold over that left leg into pyramid pose. Then bring the hands to the floor, bend into that left knee, drop the right knee and tuck the right toes. Reach up with the hands, finding lunge position. Then bringing the hands back to the floor, walk around to that long edge of your mat, turning your right toes up, straightening the right leg, bending into your left knee. Then either bring the hands back to the floor or bring yourself into the centre. Heel the toes in, heels out, toes out, heels in, coming into Malasana squat. Then taking it over to your right side and straighten out with your left leg. Maybe still finding the balance, maybe having the hands grounded to transition. Then bring the hands around towards your right side of the mat. Drop your left knee and tuck the toes. Raise the arms, finding lunge position. Then release the hands down either side of the right foot, tuck the back toes under. Drop that left heel in, straighten the right leg. Breathe in, lengthen, maybe bring the hands to the shins if they don't reach the floor. Breathe out, fold over that leg, finding pyramid pose. Then bringing your right hand to the inside of the right leg, left hand lifts to the ceiling, triangle pose. Lift the shoulders over the hips, turn both sets of toes out to the corners, cactus the arms, bend the knees, goddess squat. Then straighten up through the legs, straighten up through the arms, bring the hands to the hips, step over to your left side. Breathe in, raise the hands, interlace the fingers, lean to your right, push into your left foot. Back to the centre, lean to the left, push into your right foot. Back to the centre, release the hands down to the lower back. Push the hips forward, lift the ribs, the chest, the gaze. Come back to centre, release the hands to the chest, close the eyes, breathing easily here. Release the hands down by the sides of the body, step into the centre of the mat. Feet hip width apart. Take a breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling. And on your out breath, fold from the hips. Bring the hands down towards the shins, the ankles or the floor. Let go of the head. Have a nod and shake of the head here. Straightening the legs as much as you can or soft bending the knees if you need to. Your next breath in, straighten up through the back. Bring the hands to the shins. Easy breath in here. Long breath out allows you to fold back over those thighs, bringing the hands to wherever they reach. And again, have a nod and shake of the head. Bend into the knees, curl up one vertebra at a time, bringing yourself all the way back up to standing. And roll the shoulders back. Step wide with the legs. Heels slightly out, toes slightly in, hands on the hips. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Back down to the hips as you fold to a half fold. And then bring the hands down to the floor. If you need to bend the knees, bend the knees. Bringing your right hand into the centre, your left hand onto your shoulder. Turn, twist, and maybe raise that left hand to the ceiling, gaze up to that thumb. Keep breathing here, pushing into the outside edges of the feet. As you take this rotation, keeping those hips nice and stable. Then bringing that left hand down, bring it to where the right hand is. Right hand comes to the shoulder, turn, twist, then raise up with that right hand, take the twist to the right. Use that left hand to anchor the twist, push strong into both feet. Then release that hand back to the floor. Just allow that body to just gently fold over those legs. The head doesn't need to come to the floor, neither do the hands. The hands can be on the shins, the ankles, maybe the outside of the feet, maybe taking a hold of the big toes with the index finger and middle finger. Just let that body fold. If you need to bend the knees, bend the knees. Let everything go in the neck and the shoulders. Your next breath in, come up to a half lift. Place the hands back on the hips, breathe out. Next breath in, bend the knees, curl up through that spine. Heel toe the feet back to hip width apart. Relax the arms, curl through the neck, curl through the upper back, through those shoulders, bending the knees as you start to curl through that lower back. Bringing the hands all the way down to the floor. And then slowly release the bum into the centre of the mat. Bringing your feet to that short edge, so maybe turning around with the body. Just taking a little rotation again through your waist. So we're going to bend into your left knee and bring the left foot over the right leg. Reach up with the right arm. Hook the right arm over the left knee or bring the hand to cuddle that knee. Bring the left hand behind. Breathe in, elongate, and breathe out and rotate. Keep those toes of the right foot nice and active. The twist to the left side of the room. Nice grounded neutral pelvis to take that twist. Then come back through centre, take it over to the other side. Back through centre, straighten that left leg out. Bend your right knee, right foot over the left leg. Reach up with the left hand, either hook the left elbow or hook that right knee with the left arm. Bring your right hand behind, elongate and rotate. Then bringing those shoulders back to the front and around to the opposite side. Shoulders back to the centre. Straighten out with both legs. Give those legs a little bit of a shake. Then slowly make your way down to the floor. Nice and slowly and controlled, using the strength of those muscles to release the shoulders to the floor. Bring the arms to cactus arms, bend into both knees. Then just windscreen wipe the legs from one side to the other just to neutralise through that back before we take it into a few minutes of relaxation. Just noticing the base of the spine and how it feels. That lumbar spine where you have that real flexing point. Up to the thoracic spine, which is in between the ribs and the shoulder blades. Bring the knees to stillness. Either keep the knees bent and drop the knees out, or straighten the legs out to the ends of the mat. Bring the hands back by the sides of the body. Turn the palms up, let the fingers gently curl. Take a little movement through that neck by rocking the head from side to side, bringing that rotation into that cervical spine. And then bringing that head back to a comfortable space. Bring the shoulders away from the ears. Take that arch out of that lower back by lifting the bum, then placing it down. Just giving a little rock of the hips if the legs are out long, or a rock of the hips if the knees are bent in butterfly. Take an easy breath in through the nose, and a long sigh out through the mouth. Just taking a moment to consolidate the practice you've just done. Have a scan of the body from the top of the head down to the fingertips, down to the toes. How does it feel? If there's any tight spots, give those muscles a squeeze, let them release. And just find a bit of gratitude for the moon and the light it produces of an evening. That cool, calming effect of the moonlight. That restorative feminine side. Let everything give to the earth. Your choice to stay here for longer if you wish. If you wish to do so, pause me now. If you're coming back into the world, start to wriggle the fingers, wriggle the toes, maybe take some rotation of the wrists and the ankles. Maybe take a full body stretch, stretching the hands up and over the head, stretching through the fingers, the toes, maybe arching into that lower back. Then bringing the hands back up and over, bringing the knees into the chest. Give those knees a hug into the body. Maybe a rock of the body from side to side, just massaging that spine, thanking it for practice. Then choice to roll over onto one side, or make your way up a little more energetically by rocking up and down that spine a couple of times. And then finding your seated position from wherever you are, whatever your favourite seated position may be, bringing the hands onto the thighs. Bringing your right hand to your left knee, just take a little rotation to the left side. Then bringing your left hand to your right knee, take a rotation to the opposite direction. Bring it back to centre, bring the hands to the chest, rub the palms together to create some heat in the palms. Then bring those palms over the eyes. Allow some light through the fingers, take a breath in. As you breathe out, bring the hands to the chest, soft gaze to the floor. Have peace in your thoughts, have peace in your words, have peace in your hearts. From my heart to yours, Namaste.